Welcome to WooEnglish. In this story, you'll learn English through clear and simple sentences. Feel free to leave comments and share your thoughts. If you enjoy the story, please press the like button to support us. It really helps. This story is for educational purposes. We aim to help you improve your English while enjoying an inspiring tale about Michelangelo. His journey offers valuable lessons about dedication, creativity, and overcoming challenges. But we do not encourage or glorify any actions in the story. Let's begin the journey together. Chapter 1. Early Beginnings. Michelangelo Buonarroti was born on March 6, 1475, in the small town of Caprese, Italy. His full name was Michelangelo di Lodovico Buonarroti Simoni, but most people just called him Michelangelo. His family was not rich, and they lived a simple life. Michelangelo's father, Lodovico, worked as a government administrator, while his mother, Francesca, took care of the home and the children. From a very young age, Michelangelo showed a keen interest in drawing. He would often sit by the window and sketch what he saw outside. His favourite subjects were the hills, trees, and animals around his home. His father noticed his son's interest, but was not very supportive at first. He wanted Michelangelo to become a businessman or follow in his footsteps as an administrator. When Michelangelo was only 6 years old, his mother became very ill and passed away. This was a hard time for the young boy, and he turned to drawing as a way to cope with his sadness. He would spend hours every day with a piece of charcoal and a scrap of paper, drawing everything he could see. His drawings became his escape and his joy. By the time he was 10 years old, Michelangelo's talent was clear to everyone around him. His sketches were detailed and lifelike, showing a skill far beyond his years. One day, his father showed some of Michelangelo's drawings to a local painter, Ghirlandaio. The painter was very impressed and suggested that Michelangelo should become an artist. Lodovico was hesitant, but he eventually agreed to let Michelangelo pursue his passion. At the age of 13, Michelangelo was sent to Florence, a bustling city known for its art and culture. He became an apprentice in Ghirlandaio's workshop. This was a big step for Michelangelo, and he was both excited and nervous. In the workshop, Michelangelo learned many new skills. He learned how to mix paints, prepare canvases, and create frescoes. He also studied anatomy, which helped him understand how to draw the human body accurately. Michelangelo worked hard and quickly became one of the best students in the workshop. He was determined to make the most of this opportunity. One day, while working on a fresco, Michelangelo caught the attention of Lorenzo de' Medici, one of the most powerful men in Florence. Lorenzo was a great patron of the arts, and he was always looking for new talent. He invited Michelangelo to live and study at his palace, where he could learn from the best artists and scholars of the time. This was a dream come true for Michelangelo. At Lorenzo's palace, he had access to a vast library and was surrounded by beautiful works of art. He spent his days studying and practicing, absorbing all the knowledge he could. He learned about ancient Greek and Roman art, which would later influence his own work. During his time at the palace, Michelangelo also made many important connections. He met other young artists, poets and philosophers, all of whom inspired him and helped him grow as an artist. He also had the chance to study the sculptures and paintings in Lorenzo's collection, which were some of the finest in the world. One of the most significant experiences of Michelangelo's early years was his study of the human body. He spent hours in the Medici gardens, observing and drawing the sculptures there. He also dissected corpses to understand the muscles and bones beneath the skin. This knowledge would be crucial for his later work as a sculptor. Despite the luxury and opportunities at the palace, Michelangelo remained humble and focused on his work. He knew that his success depended on his skill and dedication. He continued to push himself, always striving to improve and create something truly remarkable. Michelangelo's early years in Florence were a time of learning and growth. He honed his skills and developed a deep understanding of art. His passion for drawing and sculpting grew stronger every day, and he began to dream of creating masterpieces that would stand the test of time. One of his first major works was a marble relief called The Battle of the Centaurs. This piece showed his incredible talent and his ability to capture movement and emotion in stone. It was a sign of the great things to come. As Michelangelo's reputation grew, so did his opportunities. He was commissioned to create works for churches and wealthy patrons. Each new project was a chance for him to prove himself and refine his skills. He approached every task with the same dedication and attention to detail that had guided him since his childhood. Michelangelo's journey from a small town in Caprese to the heart of Florence's art world was just the beginning. His early experiences shaped him into the artist he would become, laying the foundation for a career that would change the world of art forever. In the chapters to come, we will follow Michelangelo's path as he creates some of the most famous works of art in history. From the majestic statue of David to the breathtaking Sistine Chapel ceiling, his story is one of passion, perseverance, and unparalleled talent. Michelangelo's early beginnings were just the start of an extraordinary life that continues to inspire and captivate people around the world. Chapter 2. Apprenticeship in Florence. In a small town in Italy, a young boy named Michelangelo had already shown a remarkable talent for drawing. His father, Lodovico Buonarroti, was both proud and concerned. He knew that his son had a special gift, but he also understood that developing this talent would require more than what their small town could offer. One evening, Lodovico sat down with Michelangelo. "My son," he said, "you have a great talent for art. To become a true artist, you need to learn from the best. You must go to Florence and study under a master." Michelangelo's eyes widened with excitement. Florence was a big city, full of art and opportunity. It was a place where he could learn and grow. He felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. Leaving home was a big step, but it was also a chance to follow his dreams. A few weeks later, Michelangelo found himself on a cart headed to Florence. The journey was long, and as he travelled, he thought about what awaited him. He had heard many stories about the city. It was a place of great beauty and history, filled with grand buildings and sculptures. Michelangelo knew that in Florence he would have the chance to see the works of the greatest artists. When Michelangelo arrived in Florence, he was amazed by the city's energy. The streets were busy with people, markets were full of colourful goods, and everywhere he looked, there was art. He saw statues on street corners and paintings in shop windows. It was like a dream come true. Michelangelo's father had arranged for him to study with Domenico Ghirlandaio, one of the most famous artists in Florence. Ghirlandaio's workshop was known for producing excellent artists, and Lodovico believed that under his guidance, Michelangelo would flourish. On his first day at the workshop, Michelangelo felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. The workshop was large and busy, filled with apprentices working on various projects. Paintings and sketches covered the walls, and the smell of paint and clay filled the air. Michelangelo introduced himself to Ghirlandaio, who welcomed him with a kind smile. "Welcome, Michelangelo," Ghirlandaio said. "I have heard about your talent. Here, you will learn many things. But remember, becoming a great artist requires hard work and patience." Michelangelo nodded eagerly. He was ready to learn and work hard. Over the next few months, he spent his days in the workshop, practicing and learning. He started with simple tasks, like preparing paints and cleaning brushes. It was not glamorous work, but Michelangelo knew it was important. As time passed, Ghirlandaio began to give Michelangelo more challenging tasks. He learned how to mix colours, prepare canvases, and create detailed sketches. Michelangelo was a quick learner, and his skills improved rapidly. He was determined to absorb everything he could. One day, Ghirlandaio gave Michelangelo a special task. "Michelangelo," he said, "I want you to work on a fresco with us. You will help paint the background." A fresco is a type of painting done on wet plaster, and it requires great skill and speed. Michelangelo was thrilled to be given such an important job. He worked carefully, making sure every brushstroke was perfect. Ghirlandaio watched him closely and was impressed by his dedication and skill. Michelangelo's work on the fresco was a success. Ghirlandaio praised him, saying, "You have done well, Michelangelo. You have a natural talent, but more importantly, you have the patience and determination to succeed." This praise meant a lot to Michelangelo. He felt more confident and inspired to keep working hard. He spent every free moment practicing his drawing and studying the works of other great artists. He visited the churches and palaces of Florence, looking closely at the statues and paintings. Each piece of art he saw filled him with new ideas and inspiration. One evening, Michelangelo visited the Medici palace. The Medici family were great patrons of the arts, and their palace was filled with beautiful works. Michelangelo was particularly drawn to the garden, where there were many classical statues. He spent hours studying them, marveling at their beauty and precision. As he stood in front of a statue of a Greek god, a man approached him. "You seem very interested in these statues," the man said. Michelangelo turned to see a kind-looking man with a thoughtful expression. "Yes," he replied. "They are so beautiful and perfect. I want to create art like this someday." The man smiled. "I am Lorenzo de' Medici. These statues are indeed magnificent. I can see that you have a passion for art. If you wish, you can come here any time to study them. We need young talents like you." Michelangelo was overjoyed. Lorenzo de' Medici was a powerful and influential man, and his support could open many doors. From that day on, Michelangelo visited the Medici garden regularly. He spent hours drawing the statues, learning from their forms and proportions. Through his hard work and dedication, Michelangelo's skills continued to grow. He became known among the artists and patrons of Florence as a promising young talent. His time in Ghirlandaio's workshop and the support from Lorenzo de' Medici were invaluable. They provided him with the knowledge and opportunities he needed to develop his art. Michelangelo's journey was just beginning. Florence had given him the foundation he needed, and now he was ready to take on even greater challenges. The city had taught him that with hard work, patience and passion, he could achieve great things. And so, with a heart full of dreams and a mind eager to learn, Michelangelo looked forward to the future, ready to create art that would inspire the world. Chapter 3. A Rising Star. Michelangelo was becoming known for his extraordinary talent in Florence. After his apprenticeship with Domenico Ghirlandaio, he had gained the skills and confidence needed to pursue his art further. He was ready to create his own masterpieces. One of Michelangelo's first significant works was the Madonna of the Stairs. This relief sculpture was made when Michelangelo was only 15 years old. He carved it from marble, a material that would become his favourite. The sculpture showed the Virgin Mary sitting on a set of stairs, holding the baby Jesus in her arms. It was a beautiful and delicate piece of work. The details of the folds in Mary's clothes and the tender expression on her face impressed everyone who saw it. People began to talk about this young artist who could create such wonderful art at such a young age. Word of Michelangelo's talent spread quickly through Florence. Many important people started to take notice of him. One day, a well-known art patron, Lorenzo de' Medici, came to see Michelangelo's work. Lorenzo was one of the most influential figures in Florence, and he loved art. When he saw the Madonna of the Stairs, he was amazed. He invited Michelangelo to his palace to study and work. This was a great opportunity for Michelangelo. At Lorenzo's palace, Michelangelo met many other artists and scholars. He learned about ancient Roman and Greek art, which greatly influenced his style. He spent hours studying the classical statues in Lorenzo's garden, drawing and sculpting to improve his skills. Another important work from Michelangelo's early career was the Battle of the Centaurs. This sculpture showed a scene from Greek mythology where humans and centaurs were fighting. It was full of action and movement, with figures struggling against each other in a chaotic battle. Michelangelo carved this scene with incredible detail, showing muscles and expressions that made the figures look alive. Creating the Battle of the Centaurs was a challenging task. Michelangelo had to carefully plan how to fit all the figures into one piece of marble. He worked long hours, carving each figure with precision. When it was finished, the sculpture was a powerful and dynamic work of art. The Battle of the Centaurs was another success for Michelangelo. People marvelled at his ability to bring stone to life. His reputation as a brilliant young artist continued to grow. He was now known not only in Florence, but also in other parts of Italy. Despite his growing fame, Michelangelo remained focused on his work. He was always looking for ways to improve and challenge himself. He knew that becoming a great artist required constant learning and dedication. One of the most significant experiences during this time was his visit to the city of Bologna. Michelangelo went there to work on a few small projects. While in Bologna, he saw many beautiful artworks and architecture. This trip inspired him to think more about his own style and the kind of art he wanted to create. Michelangelo also spent time in Rome, a city filled with ancient ruins and magnificent sculptures. Rome was like an open-air museum, and Michelangelo took full advantage of this. He studied the works of the great Roman artists and learned about their techniques. This experience had a profound impact on him and influenced many of his later works. Back in Florence, Michelangelo continued to produce remarkable art. His skills as a sculptor were unmatched, and he was also becoming a talented painter. He was always experimenting with new ideas and techniques, pushing the boundaries of what was possible in art. One day, Michelangelo received a special commission. He was asked to create a large statue of Hercules for the city of Florence. This was a significant project that would take a lot of time and effort. Michelangelo accepted the challenge, eager to prove himself once again. The statue of Hercules was meant to represent strength and heroism. Michelangelo wanted to capture these qualities in his work. He studied the human body carefully, making many sketches and models before starting to carve the marble. The final statue was a powerful and impressive figure, showing Hercules with his muscles tensed and ready for action. As Michelangelo's work continued to gain recognition, he started to receive more commissions from important patrons. He was now considered one of the best artists in Florence. His early masterpieces, like the Madonna of the Stairs and the Battle of the Centaurs, had established him as a rising star in the art world. Michelangelo's success was not just due to his talent, but also his hard work and determination. He was always pushing himself to do better, to create art that was not only beautiful, but also meaningful. His dedication to his craft inspired many other young artists. Through his early works, Michelangelo showed that he had the potential to become one of the greatest artists of all time. His journey was just beginning, and many more incredible works were yet to come. The people of Florence and beyond were eager to see what this young artist would create next. Michelangelo's rise to fame was a testament to his extraordinary skill and unwavering commitment to his art. His early masterpieces were just the start of a brilliant career that would leave a lasting legacy in the world of art. With each new work, Michelangelo continued to amaze and inspire, showing that true greatness comes from a combination of talent, hard work, and passion. Chapter 4. The Pietà. In the late 1400s, Rome was a city filled with history, art, and grand architecture. It was a place where artists could find inspiration around every corner. Michelangelo, now in his early 20s, moved to Rome with a heart full of ambition and dreams of creating something truly extraordinary. Michelangelo was commissioned by a French cardinal named Jean de Villers-Lagrolas to create a sculpture for his tomb in St. Peter's Basilica. The cardinal wanted a statue that would depict the Virgin Mary holding the dead body of Jesus Christ. This kind of sculpture was called a pietà, which means pity or compassion in Italian. Michelangelo felt honored to receive such an important commission. He knew this was his chance to create something special, something that would be remembered for generations. He began his work with great enthusiasm. First, Michelangelo needed to find the perfect block of marble. He travelled to the marble quarries in Carrara, a town famous for its high-quality stone. Michelangelo was very particular about the materials he used. He spent days searching for the right block, examining each piece of marble closely. Finally, he found a large, flawless block that he knew would be perfect for his Pietà. Back in Rome, Michelangelo set up his workshop and started to work. The task ahead of him was daunting. The marble block was massive, and transforming it into a delicate and beautiful sculpture required incredible skill and patience. Michelangelo worked tirelessly, often through the night, chipping away at the marble with his chisels and hammers. As the weeks turned into months, the figures of Mary and Jesus began to emerge from the stone. Michelangelo's skillful hands brought life to the cold marble. He paid close attention to every detail, from the gentle folds in Mary's robes to the lifeless form of Jesus lying in her arms. Michelangelo wanted to convey the deep sorrow and love of a mother holding her son for the last time. The work was challenging, both physically and emotionally. Michelangelo put his heart and soul into the Pietà, striving to create a piece that would evoke strong emotions in anyone who saw it. He wanted people to feel the pain and compassion that Mary felt as she cradled her son. After many months of hard work, the Pietà was finally complete. Michelangelo stepped back to look at his creation. The sculpture was breathtaking, Mary's face was filled with sadness and grace, while Jesus' body seemed almost real, with every muscle and vein carefully carved. The Pietà was a masterpiece of beauty and emotion. When the Pietà was unveiled in St. Peter's Basilica, it immediately drew the attention of everyone who saw it. People were amazed by the lifelike quality of the figures and the deep emotion captured in the marble. The sculpture was unlike anything anyone had seen before. Michelangelo had created something truly extraordinary. The Pietà had a significant impact on Michelangelo's career. It established him as one of the greatest sculptors of his time. People from all over Italy and beyond came to see the magnificent sculpture and to meet the young artist who had created it. Michelangelo's reputation grew rapidly, and he started to receive more commissions for important works. Despite his newfound fame, Michelangelo remained humble and focused on his art. He knew that the Pietà was just the beginning of his journey. There were many more sculptures and paintings he wanted to create, each one a new challenge and opportunity to express his talent. The Pietà also had a profound effect on Michelangelo personally. The intense emotions he poured into the sculpture helped him grow as an artist and as a person. He learned to channel his feelings into his work, creating art that was not only beautiful but also deeply moving. The Pietà stands today as one of Michelangelo's greatest achievements. It is a testament to his incredible skill and his ability to transform stone into a powerful expression of human emotion. The sculpture continues to inspire and move people who see it, a timeless piece of art that speaks to the universal themes of love, loss, and compassion. Michelangelo's journey to create the Pietà was filled with challenges and hard work, but it also brought great rewards. It was a journey that taught him about the power of art to touch the human soul. The Pietà marked a turning point in his career, setting him on a path to become one of the most celebrated artists in history. As Michelangelo continued his work in Rome and beyond, he carried with him the lessons he learned from creating the Pietà. Each new project was an opportunity to push the boundaries of his art and to create works that would stand the test of time. The Pietà was just the beginning, a shining example of what was possible when talent, dedication, and passion came together. Michelangelo's story is a reminder that great art comes from the heart. It requires not only skill and technique, but also a deep connection to the emotions and experiences that make us human. The Pietà is a masterpiece, not just because of its technical perfection, but because it captures the essence of what it means to love and to lose. It is a work of art that continues to speak to us across the centuries, a testament to the enduring power of Michelangelo's genius. Chapter 5. The David. Michelangelo returned to Florence after his success with the Pietà in Rome. He was now a well-known artist, and people in Florence were eager to see what he would create next. Soon he was given a new and very challenging project: to carve a statue of David, the biblical hero who defeated the giant Goliath. This project was not just any sculpture, it was a monumental task. The statue of David had to be large and impressive, symbolizing the strength and courage of the city of Florence. The block of marble for this statue had already been worked on by other artists, but was left unfinished. Many thought it was too flawed to use, but Michelangelo saw potential in it. Michelangelo began by studying the block of marble carefully. He examined every crack and imperfection, planning how he would carve the figure of David. This part of the process was crucial because one wrong move could ruin the entire statue. Michelangelo was determined to create something extraordinary, so he took his time to understand the marble. Once he had a plan, Michelangelo started to work. He set up his workshop in a courtyard where he could have enough space to move around the huge block of marble. Day after day, he chipped away at the stone, slowly revealing the figure of David. It was hard work, requiring not just artistic skill, but also physical strength and endurance. As he worked, Michelangelo faced many challenges. The marble was difficult to carve, and the flaws in the stone made it even more challenging. He had to be very careful with each chisel strike to avoid breaking the marble. Despite these difficulties, Michelangelo remained focused and dedicated. One of the most important aspects of the statue was its proportions. Michelangelo wanted David to look realistic and powerful, so he studied human anatomy in great detail. He made many sketches and small models before working on the marble. His knowledge of the human body helped him to carve muscles and veins that looked lifelike. Michelangelo also decided to portray David in a unique way. Instead of showing him after his victory over Goliath, Michelangelo chose to depict David before the battle, tense and ready to fight. This decision added a sense of drama and anticipation to the statue. David's expression showed his determination and courage, making the statue even more powerful. As the statue took shape, people in Florence began to hear about Michelangelo's progress. Curious citizens would come by the workshop to catch a glimpse of the emerging masterpiece. Even though the statue was not yet complete, it was clear that Michelangelo was creating something special. After several years of hard work, the statue of David was finally finished. It stood over 5 meters tall, a magnificent figure carved from a single block of marble. Michelangelo had transformed the flawed stone into a masterpiece of art. The statue was so impressive that it was decided to place it in front of the Palazzo Vecchio, the town hall of Florence, where everyone could see it. The day of the statue's unveiling was a grand event. People from all over Florence gathered to see the statue of David. When the covering was removed, there was a collective gasp from the crowd. The statue was breathtaking. David stood tall and proud, every detail perfectly carved. His muscles were defined, his stance strong, and his expression full of determination. The statue of David was an immediate success. It became a symbol of Florence, representing the city's strength, courage, and independence. Michelangelo's work was praised by everyone, from fellow artists to ordinary citizens. His reputation as a master artist was solidified. The creation of David was a turning point in Michelangelo's career. It showed his ability to take on monumental tasks and succeed. The statue not only demonstrated his technical skill, but also his artistic vision. Michelangelo had managed to capture the essence of a hero in a way that was both realistic and inspiring. David also had a significant impact on the art world. It set a new standard for sculpture, showing what was possible with skill, dedication, and creativity. Other artists looked to Michelangelo's work for inspiration, and his techniques were studied and admired. Despite his success, Michelangelo did not rest on his laurels. He continued to work on new projects, always striving to improve and innovate. The statue of David was just one of many masterpieces he would create in his lifetime. However, it remained one of his most famous and beloved works, a testament to his genius and determination. The story of Michelangelo and David is one of hard work, perseverance, and artistic brilliance. It shows how a young artist from a small town can rise to greatness through talent and dedication. Michelangelo's journey was not easy, but his passion for art drove him to overcome every challenge. His work continues to inspire people around the world, reminding us of the power of creativity and the importance of following our dreams. In the years that followed, Michelangelo went on to create many other famous works, but the statue of David remained a highlight of his career. It was a masterpiece that captured the imagination of everyone who saw it, a symbol of what human creativity could achieve. Michelangelo's David stands today as a timeless work of art, admired by millions and a source of inspiration for generations to come. Chapter 6. The Sistine Chapel Ceiling. In 1508, Michelangelo was living in Rome when he received an invitation that would change his life. Pope Julius II, the head of the Catholic Church, wanted him to paint the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. This chapel was one of the most important buildings in the Vatican, and the Pope wanted it to be decorated by the best artist of the time. Michelangelo was known primarily as a sculptor, and he was initially hesitant to take on this massive painting project. However, the Pope insisted, and Michelangelo could not refuse such an important commission. He agreed to the task, knowing it would be a great challenge. The Sistine Chapel's ceiling was vast, over 500 square meters, and it was curved, making the work even more difficult. Michelangelo had to design a complex series of paintings that would cover this entire area. He decided to paint scenes from the Bible, telling the story of creation, the fall of man, and the history of humanity. Michelangelo began by sketching his ideas on paper. He spent months planning every detail, making sure each scene would fit perfectly on the ceiling. He created small models to visualize how the paintings would look from the floor of the chapel. This preparation was crucial because once he started painting, there would be no turning back. To reach the ceiling, Michelangelo designed a special scaffolding system. This platform allowed him to lie on his back and paint above his head. Working in this position was extremely uncomfortable and exhausting. Michelangelo spent hours each day lying on the scaffolding, his arms raised as he painted. The physical strain of the work was immense. Michelangelo's neck and back ached constantly, and paint dripped onto his face and clothes. Despite these difficulties, he remained focused and determined. He knew that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to create something truly extraordinary. As he painted, Michelangelo faced many challenges. The plaster had to be applied in small sections, and he had to work quickly before it dried. Each day, he mixed fresh plaster and pigments, climbing up and down the scaffolding to check his progress. The work was slow and painstaking, but Michelangelo's skill and dedication shone through. The first part of the ceiling Michelangelo painted was the central panels, which depicted scenes from the Book of Genesis. These included the creation of Adam, the creation of Eve, and the temptation and expulsion from the Garden of Eden. Each scene was filled with detailed figures and vibrant colours, bringing the stories to life. One of the most famous scenes Michelangelo painted was the creation of Adam. In this image, God reaches out to touch Adam's hand, giving him the spark of life. The figures are dynamic and powerful, and the composition is perfectly balanced. This image has become one of the most iconic in the history of art. As Michelangelo continued to paint, word of his work spread throughout Rome. People were eager to see the progress of the ceiling, and many visited the chapel to watch him work. Even the Pope would occasionally climb the scaffolding to inspect the paintings up close. Despite the interest and support from others, Michelangelo often felt isolated. The work was demanding, and he spent long hours alone on the scaffolding. He missed the companionship of his fellow artists and the simpler, more straightforward work of sculpture. But Michelangelo was determined to finish what he had started. After 4 years of intense labour, The Sistine Chapel ceiling was finally completed. Michelangelo stepped back to look at his work, feeling a mixture of exhaustion and satisfaction. The ceiling was a masterpiece, filled with over 300 figures and numerous scenes from the Bible. It was a visual representation of the story of humanity, from the creation to the flood. The unveiling of the Sistine Chapel ceiling was a grand event. People from all over Rome came to see the completed work, and they were amazed by what they saw. The ceiling was unlike anything they had ever seen before. The vibrant colours, the detailed figures, and the dramatic compositions all combined to create a stunning work of art. The Pope was extremely pleased with Michelangelo's work. He praised the artist for his dedication and skill, and Michelangelo's reputation as one of the greatest artists of his time was firmly established. The Sistine Chapel ceiling became one of the most celebrated works of art in history, admired by artists and art lovers for centuries. Despite the acclaim, Michelangelo remained humble. He knew that the Sistine Chapel ceiling was the result of hard work and perseverance. He had faced many challenges and overcome them through sheer determination. The experience had taught him a great deal about himself and his abilities. The Sistine Chapel ceiling stands today as a testament to Michelangelo's genius. It is a reminder of the power of creativity and the importance of pushing oneself to achieve great things. Michelangelo's work continues to inspire people around the world, showing that with hard work and dedication, anything is possible. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the life of Michelangelo here on WooEnglish. If you're enjoying the story, please like, share and comment. Your feedback means a lot to us and helps us bring you more inspiring content. Now, let's dive into Chapter 7, Rivalries and Challenges. Chapter 7, Rivalries and Challenges. In the early 1500s, Florence was a city of art and creativity. It was also a place of intense competition among artists. Michelangelo, now a famous artist, found himself in the middle of this competitive environment. Two other artists stood out as his main rivals: Leonardo da Vinci and Raphael. Leonardo da Vinci was already a legend. He was known for his incredible paintings, like the Mona Lisa, and his brilliant mind. Leonardo was not just a painter, he was also a scientist, inventor, and musician. His works were admired all over Florence, and he had many wealthy patrons. Raphael, younger than both Michelangelo and Leonardo, was gaining fame quickly. His paintings were beautiful and harmonious, and he had a charming personality that made him popular. Raphael was known for his frescoes in the Vatican, and his talent was recognized by the Pope himself. Michelangelo respected Leonardo and Raphael for their skills, but he also felt the pressure to prove himself. The rivalry between these great artists was not just about talent, it was also about winning important commissions and gaining the favor of powerful patrons. One of the most significant competitions between Michelangelo and Leonardo was for a mural in the Palazzo Vecchio, Florence's town hall. Both artists were asked to paint huge battle scenes on the walls of the council chamber. Leonardo worked on the Battle of Anghiari, while Michelangelo was to paint the Battle of Cassina. Michelangelo and Leonardo worked in nearby studios, and the city buzzed with excitement. People debated who would create the better mural. Michelangelo's work was dynamic, filled with action and emotion. Leonardo's was detailed and complex, showcasing his incredible skill in depicting movement. Unfortunately, neither mural was completed. Leonardo's experimental technique caused his painting to deteriorate, and Michelangelo was called to Rome before he could finish his work. Despite this, The competition left a mark on both artists and the art world. It showed their incredible skills and the intense pressure they faced. Michelangelo's rivalry with Raphael was different. Raphael admired Michelangelo's work, especially the Sistine Chapel ceiling. However, Raphael's style was very different from Michelangelo's. Raphael's paintings were graceful and beautiful, while Michelangelo's were powerful and intense. The two artists worked on projects in the Vatican at the same time. While Michelangelo was painting the Sistine Chapel ceiling, Raphael was decorating the Pope's private rooms with frescoes. People compared their works, often debating who was the better artist. This competition pushed both Michelangelo and Raphael to create their best work. While Michelangelo dealt with these professional rivalries, he also faced personal challenges. One of the biggest issues was financial. Despite his fame, Michelangelo often struggled with money. He took on many commissions to support himself and his family, but the payments were not always enough. Michelangelo was known for his perfectionism. He often took longer to complete his works because he wanted them to be perfect. This sometimes caused conflicts with his patrons, who were eager to see their projects finished. Michelangelo's dedication to his art often meant working long hours and sacrificing his personal life. Another significant challenge was the political situation in Italy. The country was divided into different city-states, each with its own rulers and conflicts. Michelangelo had to navigate these political waters carefully. His patrons included powerful figures like the Pope and the Medici family, who had their own rivalries and alliances. At one point, Michelangelo found himself caught in the middle of a political conflict in Florence. The Medici family, who had been his patrons, were overthrown, and a new Republican government took control. Michelangelo was asked to help defend the city by designing fortifications. This was far from his usual work as an artist, but he took on the challenge with his usual dedication. These political tensions sometimes forced Michelangelo to move between cities. He worked in Florence, Rome, and other places, always trying to balance his artistic work with the demands of his patrons and the changing political landscape. Despite these challenges, Michelangelo continued to create remarkable art. His dedication to his work never wavered, even when faced with personal and professional difficulties. He used his rivalries with Leonardo and Raphael as motivation to push himself further, always striving to improve and innovate. Michelangelo's story during this time shows that being a great artist is not just about talent. It also requires resilience, hard work, and the ability to overcome challenges. His rivalries with Leonardo and Raphael were intense, but they also led to some of his greatest works. Through his financial struggles and political conflicts, Michelangelo remained focused on his art. He continued to sculpt and paint, creating works that would stand the test of time. His ability to face and overcome these challenges is a testament to his strength and dedication. Michelangelo's journey was filled with ups and downs, but he never gave up. He used every challenge as an opportunity to learn and grow. His rivalries with other artists pushed him to new heights, and his ability to navigate personal and political difficulties showed his resilience. Chapter 8. The Last Judgment. In 1534, Michelangelo returned to the Sistine Chapel, the site of one of his greatest achievements. This time, he was asked to paint the Last Judgment on the altar wall. This new project was to be even more ambitious and challenging than his earlier work on the ceiling. The Last Judgment was to depict the final and eternal judgment by God of all humanity. Michelangelo knew this was a serious and important subject, and he wanted to create something that would leave a lasting impact. He began by studying religious texts and thinking deeply about how to represent this powerful scene. Michelangelo started his work by making sketches and small models. He planned the composition carefully, ensuring that each figure and detail would contribute to the overall message of the painting. Unlike the ceiling, which was divided into many small scenes, the Last Judgment would be one grand, unified vision. The painting shows Christ in the center, surrounded by saints, angels, and the souls of the dead. The saved are on Christ's right, ascending to heaven, while the damned are on his left, being dragged down to hell. The figures are dynamic and full of emotion, with expressions ranging from hope and joy to fear and despair. As Michelangelo began painting, he faced many challenges. The wall was large and required a great deal of physical effort to cover. Michelangelo had to work on scaffolding, reaching high up to paint the top sections. The scale of the project was immense, and he often worked long hours, driven by his vision and determination. One of the biggest challenges was the criticism and controversy that surrounded the work. Some people felt that Michelangelo's depiction of the human body was too realistic and even indecent. They were not used to seeing such detailed and expressive figures in religious art. Michelangelo's portrayal of nudity, in particular, caused a stir. Despite the criticism, Michelangelo continued with his work. He believed in his artistic vision and felt that his depiction of the human body was a way to show the beauty and complexity of God's creation. He wanted to convey the emotions and struggles of humanity in a way that was powerful and true. When The Last Judgment was finally unveiled in 1541, it caused a great deal of discussion. Some people were shocked by the boldness and realism of the painting. They were not used to seeing such a dramatic and intense portrayal of religious themes. However, many others were deeply moved by the work and admired Michelangelo's skill and creativity. The Last Judgment had a profound impact on the art world. It pushed the boundaries of what was considered acceptable in religious art and opened up new possibilities for artists to explore. Michelangelo's use of dynamic figures and expressive poses influenced many artists who came after him. The controversy did not end with the unveiling. Over the years, there were calls to cover up the nudity in the painting. In 1565, after Michelangelo's death, an artist named Daniele da Volterra was commissioned to paint draperies over the nude figures. Despite these changes, the power and emotion of The Last Judgment remained intact. Michelangelo's work on The Last Judgment was a testament to his artistic vision and his willingness to take risks. He faced criticism and controversy, but stayed true to his ideas. The painting is a powerful reminder of the themes of salvation, judgment, and the human condition. One of the most striking aspects of The Last Judgment is its depiction of movement and emotion. Michelangelo was a master of capturing the human form in motion. The figures in the painting are not static. They are full of life and energy. This sense of movement draws the viewer into the scene and makes the story come alive. The central figure of Christ is depicted with great authority and power. He raises his arm to deliver the final judgment, and his expression is both stern and compassionate. Around him, the saints and angels react with awe and reverence, while the souls of the dead experience a range of emotions, from hope to despair. Michelangelo's use of light and shadow also adds to the drama of the scene. The bright heavenly light contrasts with the darker shadowy figures being dragged down to hell. This contrast emphasizes the difference between salvation and damnation and adds depth to the composition. The impact of The Last Judgment extends beyond its artistic achievements. The painting also reflects the religious and cultural changes of the time. The Reformation and Counter-Reformation were periods of significant religious turmoil, and Michelangelo's work captures the intensity and uncertainty of this era. For Michelangelo, The Last Judgment was more than just a commission. It was a deeply personal work. He poured his beliefs and emotions into the painting, using it as a way to explore and express his ideas about faith, morality, and the human experience. This personal connection is evident in the intensity and passion of the work. As the years passed, The Last Judgment continued to inspire and challenge viewers. It remains one of the most famous and studied works of art in history. Michelangelo's ability to combine technical skill with deep emotion and complex themes has ensured that the painting remains relevant and powerful even centuries after it was created. Michelangelo's return to the Sistine Chapel to paint The Last Judgment was a defining moment in his career. It showcased his ability to tackle complex and controversial subjects with skill and conviction. The painting stands as a testament to his genius and his dedication to his art. Chapter 9. Architectural Achievements. In his later years, Michelangelo's artistic talents extended beyond painting and sculpture. He turned his attention to architecture, taking on projects that would further showcase his creativity and skill. Three of his most significant architectural achievements were the Medici Chapel, the Laurentian Library, and St. Peter's Basilica. Michelangelo's first major architectural project was the Medici Chapel in Florence. The Medici family, who had been his patrons for many years, wanted a grand chapel to serve as a mausoleum for their family. They chose Michelangelo for this important task, trusting his vision and talent. The Medici Chapel was a challenging project. Michelangelo had to design a space that was both beautiful and functional. He started by creating a detailed plan, thinking carefully about how each element of the chapel would fit together. He wanted the chapel to reflect the power and influence of the Medici family, while also being a place of peace and reflection. Michelangelo's design for the chapel included intricate sculptures and detailed architectural features. He created grand tombs for the Medici family members, adorned with lifelike statues. These statues were not just decorations. They were meant to convey the personalities and achievements of the people they represented. One of the most striking features of the Medici Chapel is the use of light and shadow. Michelangelo designed the windows and lighting to create a dramatic effect, highlighting the sculptures and enhancing the overall atmosphere of the space. The chapel is a perfect blend of art and architecture, showing Michelangelo's ability to create harmony between different elements. While working on the Medici Chapel, Michelangelo was also commissioned to design the Laurentian Library, also in Florence. The library was intended to house the Medici family's vast collection of books and manuscripts. Michelangelo approached this project with the same dedication and attention to detail that he brought to his sculptures and paintings. The Laurentian Library was a unique challenge for Michelangelo. He had to create a space that was functional for reading and studying, but also beautiful and inspiring. He started by designing the library's entrance hall, known as the vestibule. This space features a grand staircase with intricate details and a sense of movement, drawing visitors into the library. Inside the library, Michelangelo designed the reading room with tall windows and elegant wooden benches. He paid careful attention to the proportions of the room, ensuring that it felt spacious and welcoming. The library is filled with natural light, creating a serene environment for reading and study. One of the most innovative features of the Laurentian Library is the use of architectural elements to create a sense of order and harmony. Michelangelo used columns, arches, and other features to guide the viewer's eye and create a cohesive design. The library is not just a functional space, it is a work of art in its own right. Michelangelo's most famous architectural project, however, was his work on St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. This was one of the largest and most important churches in the world, and Michelangelo was chosen to design its dome. This was a massive undertaking, requiring not only artistic vision, but also engineering skill. The dome of St. Peter's Basilica is an iconic feature of the Rome skyline. Michelangelo's design is both grand and elegant, with a perfect balance of proportions. He used a double-shell design with an inner and outer dome to provide strength and stability. This innovative approach allowed the dome to rise high above the basilica, creating a sense of awe and majesty. Michelangelo's work on St. Peter's Basilica was not just about creating a beautiful structure. He also had to consider the practical aspects of construction. He worked closely with engineers and builders, overseeing every detail to ensure that his vision was realized. The project took many years to complete, and Michelangelo continued to work on it until his death. The dome of St. Peter's Basilica is considered one of Michelangelo's greatest achievements. It is a testament to his versatility as an artist and architect, and it remains one of the most recognizable and admired structures in the world. Michelangelo's ability to combine beauty and functionality is evident in every aspect of the design. Michelangelo's architectural achievements were not limited to these three projects. Throughout his career, he worked on various buildings and structures, always bringing his unique vision and creativity to each project. His work as an architect shows his ability to think in three dimensions, creating spaces that are both beautiful and functional. Michelangelo's later years were marked by a relentless pursuit of perfection. He faced many challenges, including financial difficulties and political conflicts, but he never let these obstacles deter him from his work. His dedication to his craft was unwavering, and his architectural achievements are a testament to his enduring creativity. Through his work on the Medici Chapel, the Laurentian Library, and St. Peter's Basilica, Michelangelo demonstrated his ability to master different forms of art. He was not just a painter or a sculptor. He was a true Renaissance man, capable of creating masterpieces in multiple disciplines. His architectural works continue to inspire and influence architects and artists around the world. Michelangelo's story is one of passion, dedication, and creativity. His architectural achievements are a testament to his ability to see beyond the ordinary and create spaces that are both functional and beautiful. His work reminds us that art and architecture are not separate disciplines, but two sides of the same coin, each enhancing and enriching the other. Chapter 10. Personal Struggles. Despite his professional success, Michelangelo's personal life was filled with challenges and difficulties. Behind the fame and recognition, he faced loneliness, health issues, and emotional struggles that made his life far from easy. Michelangelo was often alone. He never married and had no children. His dedication to his art left little time for personal relationships. Many of his days were spent working long hours in his studio, focused on his projects. While this dedication brought him great success, it also meant that he spent much of his life in isolation. One of Michelangelo's close friends was Vittoria Colonna, a noblewoman and poet. They shared a deep intellectual and emotional connection. Vittoria understood Michelangelo's passion for art and supported him during difficult times. Their friendship was a source of comfort for Michelangelo, but it could not fully fill the void of loneliness he often felt. Health problems also plagued Michelangelo. The physical demands of his work took a toll on his body. He spent years working on scaffolding, painting the Sistine Chapel Sailing and later, The Last Judgment. These projects required him to strain his neck and back, causing chronic pain. Despite these issues, Michelangelo continued to work tirelessly, driven by his passion and commitment. In his later years, Michelangelo suffered from severe arthritis. This condition made it difficult for him to use his hands, which was particularly hard for someone whose life revolved around creating art. Yet, he never allowed his health problems to stop him. He found ways to adapt and continued working on sculptures and architectural projects. Financial worries also added to Michelangelo's personal struggles. Although he was a famous artist, he often faced financial difficulties. Many of his commissions were delayed in payment, and he had to support his family, including his father and brothers. This responsibility put extra pressure on him, and he sometimes found it hard to make ends meet. Despite these challenges, Michelangelo was generous. He helped his family financially and supported younger artists. He believed in sharing his knowledge and skills with others, hoping to inspire the next generation of artists. Michelangelo's personal letters provide a glimpse into his inner world. In these letters, he often expressed his worries and fears. He wrote about his feelings of inadequacy, despite his many accomplishments. Michelangelo was a perfectionist, always striving to improve his work. This constant drive for perfection sometimes led to feelings of self-doubt and frustration. One letter to his nephew reveals Michelangelo's thoughts on life and work. He wrote, "I have been poor and rich. I have had good days and bad. What remains is the work I leave behind, and the love for my art that has sustained me through everything." These words show his deep connection to his art and his belief that it gave meaning to his life. Religion was also an important part of Michelangelo's life. He was a devout Christian and often reflected on his faith in his work. His sculptures and paintings are filled with religious themes and messages. Michelangelo saw his art as a way to express his spirituality and to connect with something greater than himself. In his old age, Michelangelo found some solace in his faith. He spent more time reading religious texts and attending church services. These activities provided him with comfort and peace, helping him cope with his personal struggles. Despite his many challenges, Michelangelo's passion for art never wavered. He continued to create until the very end of his life. His final years were spent working on the construction of St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. This massive project was a fitting culmination of his life's work, combining his skills in sculpture, painting, and architecture. Michelangelo's personal struggles did not diminish his achievements. Instead, they highlight his incredible resilience and determination. He faced loneliness, health issues, and financial worries, yet he never gave up. His dedication to his art and his ability to persevere through difficult times are truly inspiring. Michelangelo's life teaches us that success is not without its challenges. Behind the masterpieces and the fame, there were real struggles and hardships. Yet, Michelangelo's ability to overcome these obstacles and continue creating is a testament to his strength and passion. Through his art, Michelangelo found a way to express his deepest emotions and connect with others. His works are filled with beauty, power, and meaning, reflecting his inner world and his journey through life. Michelangelo's legacy is not just in the art he created, but also in the example he set as someone who faced great challenges and still achieved greatness. As we look at Michelangelo's life, we see a man who was dedicated, passionate, and resilient. His personal struggles make his achievements even more remarkable. Michelangelo's story reminds us that even the greatest artists face difficulties, but it is their ability to persevere and stay true to their vision that makes their work timeless and inspiring. Michelangelo's life was a blend of extraordinary talent and profound personal challenges. His ability to navigate these struggles and continue to create masterpieces is what makes his story so compelling. He showed us that true greatness comes not just from talent, but from the strength to overcome adversity and the dedication to one's passion. Michelangelo's art continues to inspire and move people around the world, a lasting testament to his incredible life and work. Chapter 11. Legacy and Influence. As Michelangelo grew older, he began to reflect more on his life's work. He had created many masterpieces, but he often thought about what his legacy would be. He wondered how his art would be remembered and what impact it would have on future generations. Michelangelo knew that his works were appreciated during his lifetime. People admired his sculptures, paintings, and architectural designs. However, he did not fully realize the extent to which his art would influence the world. His dedication, creativity, and unique style set a new standard in the world of art. One of the most significant aspects of Michelangelo's legacy is his sculptures. Works like the David, the Piet, and the unfinished Captives show his incredible skill in carving marble. These sculptures are not just admired for their beauty, but also for their emotional depth. Michelangelo's ability to capture human emotion in stone is something that artists continue to study and admire. Michelangelo's paintings also had a profound impact. The Sistine Chapel ceiling and The Last Judgment are masterpieces that showcase his ability to create dramatic and powerful scenes. The figures in his paintings are dynamic and full of life, setting a new standard for realism and expression. These works have inspired countless artists and are considered some of the greatest achievements in the history of art. Michelangelo's influence extended beyond his own work. He inspired many other artists, both during his lifetime and after. One of the artists deeply influenced by Michelangelo was Raphael. Although they were rivals, Raphael admired Michelangelo's work and learned from his techniques. This influence can be seen in Raphael's paintings, which often feature strong, dynamic figures similar to those in Michelangelo's work. In addition to Raphael, many other artists from the Renaissance and beyond were inspired by Michelangelo. His techniques and style became a standard for others to follow. Artists studied his work, hoping to capture some of the magic that made Michelangelo's art so powerful. Michelangelo's architectural achievements also left a lasting mark. His work on the Medici Chapel, the Laurentian Library, and St. Peter's Basilica showed his versatility and creativity. The dome of St. Peter's Basilica, in particular, is considered one of the greatest architectural achievements of all time. Michelangelo's innovative designs and attention to detail set new standards in architecture. One of the reasons Michelangelo's work had such a lasting impact is his ability to combine technical skill with deep emotion. His art is not just about creating beautiful images, it is about conveying the human experience. Michelangelo's figures are filled with life and emotion, making his work timeless and relatable. As Michelangelo reflected on his life, he also thought about his role as an artist. He believed that art was a way to connect with something greater than oneself. For Michelangelo, creating art was a deeply spiritual experience. He saw his work as a way to honor God and express his faith. This spiritual aspect of his work added another layer of meaning and significance. Michelangelo's influence extended beyond the world of art. His work also had a cultural impact, shaping the way people think about beauty, creativity, and the human experience. His ability to capture the complexity of human emotions and the beauty of the human form changed the way people view art and its role in society. Michelangelo's legacy is also seen in the many museums and galleries that house his works. His sculptures and paintings are displayed in some of the most prestigious institutions in the world, including the Vatican Museums, the Uffizi Gallery, and the Accademia Gallery. These institutions attract millions of visitors each year, all eager to see Michelangelo's masterpieces. The preservation and display of Michelangelo's works ensure that future generations can continue to learn from and be inspired by his art. His influence is felt not just in the art world, but in popular culture as well. References to Michelangelo's work can be found in literature, film, and even advertising. His name has become synonymous with artistic excellence. As Michelangelo grew older, he continued to work and create. Even in his final years, he remained dedicated to his art. His last major project was the design of the dome for St. Peter's Basilica. This project was a fitting culmination of his life's work, combining his skills in sculpture, painting, and architecture. Michelangelo worked on the dome until his death in 1564, leaving behind a lasting legacy that continues to inspire. Michelangelo's life and work remind us of the power of creativity and dedication. His ability to overcome challenges and create art that speaks to the human experience is truly remarkable. Michelangelo's legacy is not just in the works he created, but in the inspiration and influence he left behind. Today, artists and art lovers around the world continue to study and admire Michelangelo's work. His sculptures and paintings are seen as benchmarks of artistic excellence. Michelangelo's legacy is a testament to the enduring power of art and its ability to transcend time and culture. As we look at Michelangelo's life and work, we see a man who was dedicated to his craft and driven by a deep passion for art. His legacy is a reminder that great art comes from a combination of skill, creativity, and a deep connection to the human experience. Michelangelo's influence will continue to be felt for generations to come, inspiring new artists and reminding us of the beauty and power of art. In reflecting on Michelangelo's legacy, we see the true impact of his work. He changed the world of art and left a lasting mark on culture and society. Michelangelo's story is one of dedication, passion, and creativity, showing us that true greatness is achieved through hard work and a deep love for one's craft. Chapter 12. The Final Years. As Michelangelo grew older, his dedication to his art did not fade. Even in his 70s and 80s, he continued to work tirelessly, driven by his passion for creating beauty. These final years of his life were marked by both remarkable achievements and significant challenges. One of Michelangelo's last major projects was the design and construction of the dome for St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. This was a massive undertaking that required not only artistic vision, but also engineering skill. Michelangelo was appointed the chief architect of the project in 1546, at the age of 71. Working on the dome was physically demanding, especially for someone of Michelangelo's age. He often climbed the scaffolding himself to oversee the construction, determined to ensure that every detail met his high standards. The dome was not completed until after his death, but Michelangelo's design and vision shaped the final structure, which remains one of the most iconic landmarks in Rome. In his final years, Michelangelo also focused on sculpting. He worked on several sculptures, including a Pietà, known as the Rondanini Pietà. This sculpture was different from his earlier works, showing a more emotional and personal side. It depicted Mary holding the body of Jesus, but this time, both figures appeared less perfect and more human, reflecting Michelangelo's own struggles and emotions as he faced the end of his life. Throughout his later years, Michelangelo faced many physical challenges. He suffered from severe arthritis, which made it difficult for him to work. Despite the pain, he continued to create, finding ways to adapt to his limitations. His determination and perseverance were truly remarkable, inspiring those around him. Michelangelo's final years were also a time of deep reflection. He thought about his life's work and the legacy he would leave behind. He spent more time reading religious texts and attending church services, finding solace in his faith. Michelangelo believed that his art was a way to connect with God and express his spirituality. In February 1564, Michelangelo fell seriously ill. Realizing that his time was coming to an end, he made peace with his life and prepared for his passing. On February 18, 1564, Michelangelo died at the age of 88. His death marked the end of an era, but his legacy was just beginning. The outpouring of admiration and respect from the art community and beyond was immediate and profound. Artists, patrons, and ordinary people all mourned the loss of one of the greatest artists in history. Tributes poured in from all over Italy and beyond, celebrating Michelangelo's extraordinary life and achievements. Michelangelo was buried in the Basilica of Santa Croce in Florence, the city where he had spent much of his life and created some of his most famous works. His funeral was attended by many, and his tomb became a place of pilgrimage for those who admired his art and wanted to pay their respects. Michelangelo's influence on the art world was immense. His ability to capture human emotion and create beauty from stone and paint set a new standard for artists. His works continue to be studied and admired by artists, scholars, and art lovers around the world. One of the reasons Michelangelo's work continues to inspire is his ability to convey the depth of the human experience. His sculptures and paintings are not just beautiful, they are filled with emotion and meaning. Michelangelo's art speaks to the universal themes of love, faith, struggle, and triumph, making it timeless and relevant. Michelangelo's legacy also includes his contributions to architecture. His innovative designs and attention to detail influenced the development of Renaissance architecture and set new standards for future architects. The dome of St. Peter's Basilica remains a testament to his genius and vision. In the years following his death, Michelangelo's works continued to inspire new generations of artists. The techniques and styles he developed were studied and emulated by many, shaping the course of art history. His influence can be seen in the works of countless artists who came after him, from the Renaissance to the present day. Beyond the art world, Michelangelo's story of dedication, perseverance, and passion resonates with people from all walks of life. His ability to overcome challenges and continue creating, despite physical and emotional struggles, is a powerful example of the human spirit's resilience. Michelangelo's life and work remind us that greatness is not just about talent, but also about dedication and hard work. His story shows that true art comes from a deep connection to one's emotions and experiences and a desire to express them in a way that touches others. As we look at Michelangelo's masterpieces today, we see not just the work of a skilled artist, but the expression of a deeply thoughtful and passionate individual. His art continues to captivate and inspire, reminding us of the power of creativity and the importance of following one's passion. Michelangelo's extraordinary life and work have left an indelible mark on the world. His sculptures, paintings, and architectural designs continue to be celebrated as some of the greatest achievements in art history. Through his dedication and creativity, Michelangelo showed us the true potential of human expression. In conclusion, Michelangelo's final years were a testament to his unwavering commitment to his art and his enduring legacy. Despite facing numerous challenges, he continued to create works of profound beauty and emotion. His legacy lives on, inspiring and captivating people around the world, a true testament to the power of art and the human spirit.